So you want to be a rock star, but you're wondering if you have what it takes. Or maybe you have no music capabilities at all. Well, there's a whole lot more to the rock concert industry than just the music. There are choreographed productions with sound, light, staging, electronics, video, and more. Much of what makes a concert rock begins in manufacturing. The stars may take the stage, but there wouldn't be a stage without all the talented people and jobs in design and construction, project management and logistics, field technicians, and transporters. Today, we're going to take a behind-the-scenes look at 4 local companies: Tate Towers, Atomic Design, Astro Machine Works, and Claire Global. All of them are involved in very different aspects of concert production. Even if you've never considered being involved in the rock concert industry before, after today, you just might. At our first stop, we meet up with Greg and Tito at Tate Towers in Lititz, Pennsylvania. The employees at Tate are world-class innovators creating world-class experiences. They're a team of passionate experts designing, constructing, and delivering the finest live equipment in the world.
Hi, my name is Greg Zittel. I work at Tate Towers. I have been here for 15 years and I am the Senior Sourcing Manager, specifically in charge of touring. So, how did I get started at Tate? Well, after 2 years of college, I still had no idea what I wanted to do. So I got a summer job. I wanted to get my foot in the door of a company that I had heard about halfway through my college career, a company that was in my own backyard, basically, growing up. So I started here doing anything I could, anything to keep my foot in the door. I worked on a mill. I worked in the paint department, I worked in inventory, then I worked in shipping and receiving, then I worked in logistics, and thankfully that was under a gentleman that brought me up and understood my small college career, gave me a little bit of business insight. So I started doing purchasing. That was the time when we had explosive growth. I wish at one point when I was going to college I would have known exactly what I was looking to do and I would have focused my attention on that. Unfortunately, I had to take a little bit of the hard knocks road. Years and years of my career finally pushed me into where I am now. After all that growth, I've started taking over touring from the senior sourcing perspective. So what is a senior sourcing manager in charge of touring? Well, basically senior. I don't think I'm old, but I've been here for almost 15 years, so that is about half my life. Sourcing, we buy everything. We protect the funds. We also spend a lot of the funds to get the raw materials and subcontracts set up for the shows. Manager, well, I manage subcontractors, I manage suppliers, I also manage people. Within the procurement department, we've got purchasing, shipping and receiving, logistics, and inventory. At one point here at Tate Towers, I've worked in and managed each and every one of those departments, so it has kind of set me up to understand the challenges that everyone that's managing those, works in those, is going to face. There's a lot of things that have to happen in order for something to come through those doors to make the shows that we're sending out the doors. So I bet you're wondering what kind of training I've had. Well, 2 years of college and leaving halfway through does not quite thrust you into the job market. However, starting at Tate Towers, I got the best on-the-job training an industry can offer, really. Every job that they offered, I took. I made sure I was open. If they needed somebody in the paint department, I was in the paint department. They showed me how to work all the equipment. If they needed somebody on a mill, I was on the mill. They showed me how to work all the equipment. If they needed somebody in shipping and receiving, I drove to FedEx at 7 p.m. that night because that's what they needed that day. What did all this do, right? It thrust me into what I am now. And I know how the guys in the fabrication department are working. I know how the guys in the machine shop are working. I know the struggles of our shipping and receiving department. Every single thing that inventory faces in everyday life, I understand what they're going through. And I learned that over the course of 15 years. You're not gonna get 15 years of training like that. What I tried to do was excel at everything that they gave me to do. I learned as quickly as humanly possible how to do it as best as humanly possible, and it's worked really well for me. I'm gonna say my favorite project so far has got to be Rodeo Houston. Just last year, 2017, we created for them a stage that would actually drive out of a garage, and it was in the shape of a star, and it would deploy all the points in the middle of the rodeo there. That was the first time that I had been promoted from the purchasing manager to the senior sourcing manager, because we started realizing getting involved closer to the client and really understanding what their needs for would in turn make for a happier client and a better product and a more manufacturable product at the end of the day.
Hi, my name is Roberto Cruz. I've been with Tate for 5 years, and I'm currently the assistant group lead for Custom Fab. I started here at Tate as a painter, quickly progressed, became a LED fab, and basically we started making basic framing, sometimes custom framing just for lights, LED panels. From there, I decided I wanted to further my career here at Tate and became a water spider, which is basically a glorified material handler. Going to the machine shop, picking up parts, inventory. Our inventory here varies by size, but different hardware like bolts, nuts, washers. From there, I went to a TIG welder and a MIG welder. Basically just welding decking, which is flooring for staging. From there, I became an assistant group lead. That's where I'm at today. As an assistant group lead here at Tate, my job is to help assist a group of 8 to 10 guys, knowing who to put on what jobs. We do a lot of custom work here. Overseeing the job, as well as being able to answer questions in a timely manner, as well as answering any questions for any higher-up management, updates on jobs, when they're gonna get done, where we're at with them. Right now, currently, we're working on decking, which is flooring for staging. We also do trussing, which is structure that is above the staging, that hangs motors, lighting, speakers. Everything we do here at Tate is completely custom, so my day-to-day is never the same. Schooling that I needed, I started in 11th, and my 12th grade year in high school decided that CTC was a better route for me, which is basically the Career and Technology Center. I had 1 year experience in CTC Willow Street, MIG welding, TIG welding, basic knowledge of the mill, lathe. My 12th grade year in high school, I went to CTC Mount Joy, went back for welding and HVAC. Didn't really get any certifications, but I got a lot of experience out of it, and it helped me progress my career here at Tate. Currently, I'm in a Rockstar program. It's a program that Tate helps us with communication skills and helps us better understand ourselves as far as dealing under stressful situations and being able to manage a group better without stressing as much and being able to understand yourself in a better way. My favorite project here at Tate was The Weeknd Starboy 2017 tour. It was my favorite show because I was given the opportunity to run the group of people that were working on the show, and we installed fascia paneling on the front of the truss, which is the upper structure of the staging. Fascia panel is basically plastic paneling with lighting in the back that we installed. It was my favorite show. It was a great success and helped me to be a great supervisor today.
Thanks, Greg and Tito. Can you believe that Greg helped build that massive Rodeo Houston stage? Pretty cool, right? Now we're going to meet up with 2 other rock stars doing amazing work over at Atomic Design. Atomic Design creates immersive live environments that engage audiences and make a bold impression. They set the stage for maximum effect through live event production, design services, custom set construction, and modular rental scenery.
My name is Jay. I work here at Atomic. I worked here for about 2 years, and I'm the soft goods lead here. Basically, I work alongside the team, I lead the team, I keep track of inventory, I manage jobs that come through our department, and I do a lot of sewing, a lot of planning, a little bit of design here and there, but it's not much. We leave that up to the project management team. 2 of the things that I like most about my job, or maybe that attracted me to this job, is getting to lead a team. I have always worked autonomously in positions that I've had, and it was nice to kind of share those skills with other people and encourage other people to do what I do or do the job that we have to do. The other thing would probably be managing the workflow that comes through. I like to think that I'm pretty good at managing mass chaos, which is a lot of fun. A lot of things come through here, and we oftentimes have a short deadline, and getting them to work just right is probably my favorite part about the job. It took some time to get into this industry, I'd say. I started out in woodworking straight out of high school. After that, I moved into metalworking and kind of bumped around. The economy kind of fell out, and I had a lot of really great people lead me into some of the fields that I've worked in. I'd say most prevalent was the leatherworking industry. I ended up learning how to sew more. I taught myself how to hand sew, work with a lot of machinery, and that kind of led me here to Atomic. I had a lot of sewing machine experience, and it just so happened that they were looking for somebody with a wide variety of skills, and I was fortunate enough to kind of fill that slot. I'd say that I was probably one of the few people who kind of got by on just stuff that I've learned here and there. I have fell in and out of jobs just based on some of the prior experience that I've had, and thankfully I've had a lot of teachers along the way who have seen some kind of potential in me and helped me along. I got my leatherworking gig early on just by happenstance. Somebody gave me a bunch of tools and I kind of tinkered alone by myself, and that ended up into a career, which I think I'm pretty lucky for. I'd say in the woodworking industry, something that helped me quite a bit was just getting in there and doing the job. Again, I had quite a few people see some potential in me and show me a few things here and there, and you know, the internet is a wonderful thing. I got to learn quite a bit just by watching videos, and through some of the social media sites like Instagram and Facebook. I follow quite a few people who are incredible at what they do, and that's kind of where my education came from. I never had any formal training. I never went to school. I did go to tech school for metalworking at one point, but honestly, I didn't stay in the field long enough to really use that. But I do believe in tech schools. I think they're incredible tools for young people. It costs less, and they have some wonderful teachers and people who are actually in the industry and can get you jobs that are beyond that. I'd say one of the projects that I'm most proud about here at Atomic, we did what was supposed to be a smaller theater rendition of Mamma Mia for a company out in Seattle, and it turned out to be this massive undertaking of, I'd say the wall ended up being probably 60 foot wide, and I think it was somewhere around 30 foot tall, but we ended up having to defy most ideas of what I imagine fabric will do, and make a three-dimensional bowl shape, and then on top of that make ruffles. And it took quite a bit of time and energy, and it was a lot of fun. I think that was probably the most fun I've had on one project here.
Hi, I'm Steve Rolfe. I'm the CNC lead here at Atomic Design. I've been here 7 years. One of the things we do here at Atomic on a day-to-day basis is basically supply different shops with different parts needed to produce scenery for the entertainment business. We also work with our rental department, producing panels that get shipped out all over the world for different backdrops and scenic elements. We also produce parts for the R&D department that help us expand our capabilities here at Atomic Design as well. So I got into the entertainment business when I was about 8 years old. I started with my grandfather at the Opera Lancaster down in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And he was an opera singer, so at the age of 8, I was moving chairs on and off stage as a stagehand. From there, I kind of grew up with the interest in production and live entertainment. And I started at the Fulton Theater after I graduated from high school as an apprentice carpenter at that point, moving up to master carpenter, and then eventually assistant technical director. From there, I had a brief stint over at Tate Towers, which led me into the window of coming to Atomic Design. From there, I started off as a road carpenter and went from road carpenter to LED electrician, and then from LED electrician to the CNC operator, moving on to the CNC lead. So I've been kind of in this pretty much since I've been a young kid, and it just keeps progressing from there. As the CNC lead, one of the responsibilities that I have here is to maintain scheduling and parts production for the rest of the shop. I work hand in hand with the other leads to ensure that they have the parts needed to fulfill their daily goals and producing whatever elements may need built for that day. One of the things we do in our department is we program the different elements and the different parts using software that allows the tooling for the different parts to be cut. This involves feeds and speeds and rotations of the spindle itself. It's a mathematical equation of decimals versus how many cutting edges and different things like that per material: aluminum, poly, plastics, plywood. So there's an equation for each one that we do to figure out, and then we take all those numbers, put them into the software, and then the software then converts it to a thing called G-code, which exported out to the CNC router, and then the router takes that and performs its features from there. So a lot of the skills that I do here at Atomic Design, I've learned basically on the job training. Coming up through school, I did wood shop class, and that got me to know the different aspects of assembly of products and wood and stuff like that. Then once I became the CNC operator, it was taking the knowledge I had of wood and different materials and then incorporating the math that I basically had taught myself how to run these machines. Now, I did go to a course for Enroute, which is the software we use, and I learned the advanced aspects of the software. So combine all that together, and now that's what allows me to do what I do on a daily basis. So one of the projects that I have the most pride in here at Atomic Design was a project for the Nokia Lumia 900 launch in Times Square. I believe it was 2011 or 2012, called the Blue Box job. The reason that job means a lot to me is there was a split-second reveal where all of Times Square was going to witness somebody being on stage, not knowing who it was, and my job was to set up the curtains that dropped at that second. If I hadn't done that right, it would have been total flop in front of thousands of people. Luckily, that job, the button got pressed, the curtains dropped, and everybody was cheering, and it was a really cool feeling knowing that, you know, I had a hand in that to release this surprise moment to thousands of people in the middle of New York City.
That's awesome that Steve started learning about stage production when he was just 8 years old at Opera Lancaster with his grandfather. And now he's able to make a career out of stage production. Still don't know what you want to do just yet? No worries, we still have 2 more stops left. Now we're going to head right down the road to Astro Machine Works in Ephrata. Astro Machine Works specializes in the manufacturing of automation equipment and is a specialist in precision CNC machining. Their vision of creating relationships that improve and protect our world speaks to the value they place on creating strong working relationships with each of their customers, both in the commercial sector as well as in government contracting.
My name's Torrey Martin, and I work at Astro Machine Works for the last 25 years, and I'm a project manager. So as a project manager, I'll take drawings or a large project from a customer, and I'll take it, order material, get all the drawings ready for the personnel in the shop to run, to manufacture, to machine, weld, and to paint, and also deal with the quality assurance side of it, deal with the customer if there's any changes or specific specifications need met. So basically from cradle to grave on the whole project. When I was younger, I grew up, my father was a race car driver, and a lot of times we had parts that we needed for the race car, and a friend of mine, his father was a machinist and would make parts, so we'd take those parts and help fix the race car up, and thought it was really neat, so I got into Votech and learned to trade and pursued it from then. So I went to Votech when I was in high school, and after high school left for the military, did 4 years of service. From the military I learned a lot about the mechanics. I was working on hydraulic systems and did a lot of sheet metal and riveting, which we use a lot now at Astro on some of the government projects I work with. So the military experience has been very helpful with project managing and dealing with customers. Then I went to night school for 4 years while I did on-job training at Astro Machine Works. Evening classes consisted of math and on techniques and processes. and to continue learning. A machine shop is, you're continually learning. You never quite ever reach the pinnacle. It takes years, and you can always learn from someone or someone else a different way to do it. After the 4 years, I got my journeyman's papers, and I'm a licensed machinist, and continue getting training occasionally from time to time as we need it, as the industry continues to grow. What I find most interesting about the machine shop is the technology it takes to make the parts we do. A lot of our concepts are ideas that come from engineers. They come up with an idea, and sometimes we're making them for the very first time. A lot of these parts are high-tech, made on computers, designed, and they go into the field, and they can be parts that actually go to space, parts that go in aircraft, parts that go to foreign countries, and we've actually made submarine parts that are under the ocean. We made camera lenses and stuff for viewing, the stars and everything. So a lot of high-tech projects go through here. So the technology is increasing every day, and for students, to me, it's exciting. I wish I was younger, starting out in this industry, to now all the computer, the CNC machining, SolidWorks. It's really exciting at this time. Some of my favorite projects that I've worked on here at Astro have been working on a giant project. It was a titanium job, a big government job, and it was we worked on it for like 6 months, and it really turned out well, so very proud of that one. And also some energy projects we worked on with some engineers very closely. Very interesting stuff we do here.
Hi, my name is Austin Jones. I've been working in Astro for 7 years as a welder. Day to day, I gather up my steel, aluminum, or stainless, whatever the project is, get it to my workstation, and fabricate whatever's on the print for the customer and give them what they want in the product. Currently, right now, I'm working on a TIG welding project with aluminum. I got interested in welding during my 10th grade year of high school, and I wanted to further my education, so I took it to CTC full day of my senior year. After that, they got me hooked up with a job through the co-op program, and I worked there for 2.5 years prior to coming to Astro. Since coming to Astro, I've taken multiple certifications, a lot of them to do with TIG welding, MIG welding, flux core arc welding, and stick welding. With that, I've also done non-destructive testing training for visual testing and die penetrant testing. One of the most challenging tests I've had to take would be my TIG welding titanium certification. It's very tough. You have to be on the top of your game. Everything has to be just right. You can't get the material too hot. It becomes brittle and it'll crack. So they take that apart, cut coupons out of your test, and they have to bend to a certain degree. And if that breaks, then it's obviously too hot. You really have to pay attention. Some of the projects that I'm most proud of are the ones where I get the chance to weld on pieces of equipment and projects for the military and our defense that save lives around the world. Another cool aspect of my job is that I get to work on stage platforms for Tate that some of the most talented musicians in the world have walked on my stages.
Thank you, Austin, and thank you, Tori, for serving our country. Our last stop today is Clare Global, so we're going to head back to Lititz to meet up with Tom and Chris. Clare Global strives to exceed expectations through integrity, innovation, attention to detail, and unyielding customer service worldwide. They believe their employees are their differentiator. Clare Global's employees' creativity, talents, problem-solving skills, and commitment to service set them apart.
I am Tom Butson, Senior Product Designer at Clare Global, a 20-year employee. My job here at Clare Global is Senior Product Designer. That entails product packaging, custom solutions for clients, working with the manufacturing crew and clients to generate a solution that suits their needs. An example of what we do is a laser inclinometer project, which allows us to accurately aim and position our PA on a daily basis. We also do packaging for IT infrastructure, mobile deployments of printers and network switches that need to be deployed on a daily basis. packaging of mobile audio equipment that needs to be deployed on a daily basis. Beyond audio and the experience for the client, we do fan-based Wi-Fi and infrastructure. An example would be Coachella, where ticketing and merch purchases are all handled through our deployed network environment. I started working for Clair in high school, had an interest in electronics. When I graduated high school, I decided that I wanted to continue with electronics and went to Penn State in the electrical engineering program. Not long after being in the electrical engineering program, I decided that a four-year electrical engineering college was not for me. I took a year off, returned to Clair, and opted to become a roadie. I toured for an entire summer, enjoyed it, got to see lots of cool places, learn lots of things, but decided that I wanted to keep my roots in Lancaster and in the company of Clair. I did some research and discovered Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology, 2-year electronics associates program. Lots of theory, but more hands-on than a 4-year college. It was an accelerated program that got me working faster. After graduation, I returned to Clair, and I've been here ever since. At Clair, I've had many positions. When I first started, I was a cable builder, surrounded by mountains of mic cable, building them every day, all summer, to roadie for an entire summer. After college, I moved into electronics repair, mixing console repair, phone tech support, touring tech support, design engineering, management. Just kept bumping my way up till I'm happy where I'm at now, designing and engineering. My favorite project is a design project that was developed for Fox Sports, the golf channel. The broadcast engineers, audio engineers, wanted to put a microphone in the golf cup in the green so that they could catch conversations on the green. We developed it, we designed it, it worked. Ultimately, the client did not want it, but it was my favorite project.
Thanks, Tom. Our next interview takes us all the way to Nashville, Tennessee, where we met up with Chris Daniels, who's currently on tour. Now, I couldn't fly all the way to Nashville to see Chris, so we caught up via Skype.
Hey guys, Chris Daniels here, Clair Global down in Nashville, Tennessee. Getting ready to gear up and head down to South America on a short tour. Been with the company for 4 years and happy to share my part. So basically my job entails ensuring that all of the audio for a live performance functions properly as it's meant to. When you go to a concert, there's a lot more involved from what the musician is doing on stage before it reaches your ears. So my job is to ensure that what they're doing translates properly to the audience, but also for the musicians and the band and the artist that's performing on stage. I was freshman year of high school. I took a class. It was like music production, something like that. Was working in GarageBand and with keyboards and these different types of things, and cutting stuff up and pasting them together and making, a final product out of just bits and pieces. And that really sparked my interest on the technology side of what you listen to every day when you hop in your car or you get home from school or from work. And I went to a lot of live shows as a kid, starting in elementary school into middle school and high school, going to classic rock shows. And I found myself gaining so much interest in what actually took place at the show that you didn't see. I wanted to know what was going on behind the scenes every time I went and saw one of these shows. So it ultimately led me to go to college for that And I found the school up in Maine, in Bangor, Maine, that offered, all these classes and a bachelor's degree in live sound. And I actually started at the school as a studio student, recording audio that, would be made into records for bands and artists. So really, the more that I learned about the industry and found out and kind of submerged myself in it, the more I realized how much really actually does go into a show. You go to a concert and without knowing about the industry, you show up and you just think that the band, comes in and sets up their drum kit and their guitar amps and plays a show, and everything's great, but when you look at it from the start of the day at 6 a.m. or whenever it is to the end of the day, it's really it takes you back when you first figure out actually what's all going on. There's truck drivers, there's riggers, there's guys that fly audio speakers up in the air. All the lights and speakers go up and down every day, and those actually are traveling on the road with the artists. There's just massive production teams. There's hundreds of people working on one show, from local crew to touring crew, production, lighting, video, audio, the backline guys, the band techs, the drivers, the caterers. It's really kind of never ending. I had the opportunity and the offer to tour with the Rolling Stones, which was like my first real big tour that brought me all across North America. And then the second leg of it that brought me all across South America and Cuba, and just the opportunity to visit places like that. Every day is something completely different, even though it could be the same set that the artist or band is performing every night. There's always different challenges and different hurdles to jump over. There's always something new and exciting that happens that's different from yesterday or the day before or the week before that. You have some consistency with, things staying the same, but what makes it fun for me is that it's never the exact same. There's always something that makes it exciting.
Thank you to Chris and all the amazing people we got to meet today. I'm sure you got a sense of what it takes to bring one of these concerts from idea to reality, and all the different types of jobs, education, and experience needed. Tate, Atomic Design, Astro Machine Works, and Clair Global are all experts in their fields, and they're right here in Lancaster County and are always in search for talented and dedicated team members to join them as they continue to excite audience members for years to come. You're encouraged to find more about the jobs that interest you. Keep asking questions and talking to your teachers. They'll help you get more information. Musically inclined or not, there's a career for everyone in the rock industry.